Hello everybody and welcome back to our how to, and this week it's going to be how to deal with anxiety, stress and tension. Now over the last few weeks I've had quite a few emails asking me about how they deal with tension in their shoulders, their neck, they're getting tension headaches, and that's because of the amount of pressure that a lot of people are under at the moment. That's a physical manifestation of stress and anxiety or tension. But today we're going to particularly focus on the emotional and of causes of it and why it happens, and maybe look back at why some people have anxiety more than others. And so with that, I'm delighted to introduce Kirsty Wick, who is a hypnotherapist in Salisbury and also works at Not Just Facts in Tisbury. And I've known Kirsty quite a long time now, and we've done quite a lot of work together over the years. So welcome, Kirsty.
Thank you very much.
And so with your experience of stress, what's happened recently? Has there been any difference in what people are worried about or concerned about? Have you noticed with your clients any change?
Yes, so yeah, huge changes. I would say pretty much for everyone. I don't think there's anyone that has not been affected by what's happening at the moment. But it is very it's very individual, and it's very kind of unique depending on your circumstances. So, you know, for people that have got children, suddenly they've got, you know, children at home, they're trying to work from home. Other people, it means that they are now, you know, on their own. They're not able to kind of, you know, visit their friends or family. Some people have obviously, you know, they've lost their business, or they're not able to work. So it's affecting people. The effects are different, but I think all of that, basically, human beings, we're not actually that great at change. And we want to kind of we're always looking to have, well, same for the physical thing, it's this homeostasis, so it's finding this range within which we work. And so any change is always perceived by our brain, our kind of our very sort of primitive brain. It's always perceived as a threat. And obviously what's happened at the moment is that we've all undergone huge change, and very, very rapidly. So how people experience that will be different, but there is absolutely no doubt that every single one of us is under stress in some way, shape or form.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people probably have found the beginning much worse because you had that massive change, and may have actually adapted, and their hormones and everything have adapted and are sort of coping, you know. But there are quite a few people out there, I presume, that have this massive change but then cannot adapt to it very well, and their hormone levels, probably their cortisol's going mad, still up there. And it's how can we help those people that are really still quite anxious and feeling the pressure?
So I suppose that is the difference between a fear response and anxiety. So we all had a fear response. A fear response is something that is happening immediately, that we either is a real threat or we perceive to be a threat, and that is our emotional response to it. Now ordinarily the threat passes and so we're able to return to that kind of calm place where we're not pumping out cortisol and adrenaline, so we return to this normal calm state. Now anxiety is different. Anxiety is where we kind of stay, where our system kind of stays on that sort of high alert. And anxiety is usually because we are kind of, our mind is thinking about and worrying about things that are going to happen. So not necessarily something that is happening in the moment, but things that we're worrying about, things that are going to happen. And if you are somebody that already has kind of experienced anxiety previously, if you're somebody that has experienced kind of trauma in your life, and the thing about this is that you may or may not be aware of it. You know, sometimes this has been a really big trigger. So for some of us, we have maybe been going through life, and we've constructed our life in a way that we feel very safe, we're in control, and so we don't really experience that sense of anxiety or that sense of fear. Something has come along, something huge has come along over which we have no control. And I always describe it to clients. It's like, it's like somebody literally getting your mind. So maybe your anxiety has just been resting kind of nicely at the bottom, not really affecting you. Something like this happens, and it is literally like somebody getting your brain and just kind of shaking the whole thing up. And it reactivates kind of past experiences, unprocessed feelings. And if that is happening, then it becomes much more difficult, much more problematic for us to kind of bring ourselves kind of back down.
Yeah, that sounds really tricky. Have you got any sort of advice for people like that, or just advice in general to try and sort of...
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, there's lots of things. There's the very basic things like taking care of our physical needs, but I know that you kind of covering that. So if we just kind of focus on the emotional stuff, so the first thing you can do is really just acknowledge we tend to kind of avoid kind of feeling our feelings. And so the first thing is just to really acknowledge that this is not a normal time, and that we are going to be feeling all sorts of things. And actually that is, and that is okay. So just giving ourselves permission to actually really feel and experience our own reaction to this situation in which we find ourselves. The other thing, particularly when it comes to anxiety, is that it's really, really important that when you can feel your anxiety rising, that you bring yourself back to the present moment. And you can do that. Sometimes you can do that by focusing on the breath. Sometimes if people feel very anxious, actually focusing on the breath can make them feel more anxious. So if you are somebody that focusing on the breath makes you feel more anxious, then just focus your attention on something in the present. So if you like gardening, or you have a pet, or you've got children, something that is in your life, in your present, that you can kind of look at, connect to, and then you just keep telling yourself that in this moment you can go through and you can say, well, in this moment I am safe. In this moment, nothing is happening. Everything around me is the same. And then just keep repeating in your mind, I am safe. I am safe. I think it's also really important, you were talking about hormone levels. And the other thing that we really need to do, we want to kind of really increase the hormone oxytocin. So that's our feel-good hormone. It's the hormone of love. Now, with all this social distancing and being in lockdown, what we are missing is that connection to other humans. And that's what we really, really need. And sometimes if we're feeling very anxious, we can kind of retreat and withdraw. So it's really important that you find somebody that you trust, somebody you feel comfortable with, and that somebody that you can make a connection to, on kind of video or phone call, and just have that conversation, reach out to people, because we really do need that human connection. If you are in a situation where actually you're kind of surrounded by people, and part of the problem for you, part of the stress, is that you're just with people 24/7, then I would say that you really, really need to say this is a need. So it's not just a luxury. It's not like, oh, that would be nice. You need to have time by yourself. Your brain literally cannot process all of these emotions, all of these feelings, if you are surrounded by, constantly surrounded by other people, or, stimulus all the time coming in. So it's, I think particularly if you have kind of people that are dependent on you, we kind of put ourselves on the list, but really, really, you do need that time, for your health and well-being.
I think that's where you could go out for your walk, and you could do your own.
Yeah.
And you get out there and then just enjoy the sunshine, because there's been a lot of it at the moment, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
And with walking, just to let the guys know that if you walk for 40 minutes at a moderate pace, you will start releasing endorphins. So they are your happy hormone. So you have to actually get to 40 minutes before you start to feel this great feeling from exercise. If you were running, you'd feel it earlier because your body's working harder. But with walking, 40 minutes, get out there every day and do your 40 minutes to get your lovely chemical high.
And the other way you can get that chemical high as well with oxytocin is to kind of be of service to others, so to help others, and that can be in any small way. But again, it comes back to how human beings, how our brains are wired. We are social creatures, so we are designed to, we want to look after our fellow humans. I say that, most of us do anyway. Most of us want to look after our fellow humans, because doing so, when we do that, when we take care of somebody, or we help somebody, that goodwill gesture, it makes us feel good again, because we release oxytocin when we do it. So it doesn't matter, even if it's just sending somebody a text, making a phone call, dropping a card through somebody's door as you go for your daily walk. It doesn't have to be a big thing. All of us can do something to help somebody else, and you will be helping yourself to do that. I think the other thing that I've really been thinking about is this thing about boundaries. We're all at home, and both boundaries around technology and also just that feeling of, because we're at home, particularly if you're not working, then it's this sense that there is no kind of, you're just kind of available 24/7. And definitely this situation has pushed most people to be online, to be spending a lot more time on social media, even more than we would ordinarily. And we absolutely know that social media can increase anxiety. So again, we have to be really mindful of that and be very kind of vigilant, and really look at it as a kind of health thing that you need to kind of put these boundaries in place to take care of your health.
That's really important, and also for children as well.
Yeah, I was thinking about children a lot. Yeah.
My eldest, my word, he used to have iPaddies if he'd been on the screen too long, and he'd screen away. Meltdown, and his behaviour would change enormously. So it's really having those strong boundaries with your children, that actually this is the time you're on your screen, and maybe for school, and then you have a little bit maybe afterwards, but you're not on there the whole time. It's just sorry.
No, it would just be so easy to do. It's so easy for that time to just get longer and longer for all of us. All of us. And
especially if you're trying to work, as a parent trying to work, it's really hard to entertain as well as look after your work and entertain your child. So
no, it's really tricky.
For the easiest sponge, go and watch that, or play on your iPad or your Xbox, or tricky.
And I think the other thing around sort of social media as well is just minimizing, if if you are somebody that has anxiety and you already know what your triggers are, it's avoiding those triggers, but also, avoiding, the news, things on Facebook, that can, we don't need to kind of be bombarded with that stuff. Yes, it's important to keep up to date, but it's important to keep up to date in a balanced way from reliable sources. Do you actually, if you're feeling very anxious, do you really need to know what is happening in New York? You probably don't. It's not going to affect your life in this moment. So I think just, again, being very mindful about, think of your mind as, like a vulnerable thing, a person that you want to take care of, and be very kind to it.
Sorry, and especially watching the news before you go to bed.
Yeah.
Watch the 10 o'clock news.
Yeah.
Because you just don't sleep. My viewing of news is minimal. It's too distressing for most of our minds to deal with.
And I think that along with that is just being very overall just being very extra kind to ourselves, and really taking that seriously, and recognizing, particularly if you are somebody that has had anxiety previously, if you are experiencing anxiety now, as I said at the beginning, these are extraordinary times, and a lot of us are going to need additional support and help to get through this. you know, this is not just your day-to-day kind of stresses. This is kind of unprecedented. And if you are somebody, like I said, that has a history of trauma or of previous anxiety, then it is likely that you probably, you know, you are going to need sort of additional kind of support and help to process and to navigate your way through this. And that is okay. That we would, you know, expect that. That is completely normal. So I think the last thing is that I would really encourage everyone, along with your daily walk, along with all the other things that you're doing, I really encourage you to commit to a kind of 5 or 10 minute daily relaxation practice. There are lots of things on YouTube. It doesn't have to take a long time. Just 5 or 10 minutes a day will have huge benefits on your health. Basically, it has like an accumulative effect. So when you practice something every day, relaxation every day, what you're doing is you're kind of winding down those anxiety and stress levels. And when you do it every day, instead of your anxiety levels kind of shooting back up again, and then when you do your relaxation, you're having to sort of bring it down. When you do it every day, you're kind of gradually bringing it, you know, down, and it doesn't have that opportunity to kind of go back up again. So I've put together a relaxation, visualization, kind of meditation that will guide you through. It's about 20 minutes long, and it's sort of really lovely. It's to kind of relax and rest and rejuvenate you. So you can listen to that to get you started. Yeah, I think that's the last thing.
A real treat for everybody. And what people can do is, from our previous video with our breathing exercises, the last one we ended up in a sort of a cross position. You can get on the bed, you can then put your headphones in and listen to Kirsty's lovely relaxation, and that will really benefit you. I must say that's the one thing that I have really focused on every day since we've been in lockdown. What is a meditation? I do one for an hour, and it's my bit of time. So it's definitely worth and switching off, getting rid of the outside world with your earphones and listening in and just relaxing your body and relaxing the physical, and you'll suddenly be aware of where you're holding your tension as well.
Yeah,
a lot of it is around the face and the forehead and around the jaw, and then around the front of our chest, and again our diaphragm that we've spoken about in the last couple of vlogs that we've done. So it's really just to let your whole body start to melt and really unwind with Kirsty's great gift to us. That's amazing. Thank you, Kirsty.
You're welcome.
Now, if somebody wanted to find you because they would be interested in doing some deeper work to try and get rid of some of these past traumas that may be triggering, well, would be triggering them now, you're working online, how would they find you?
Yeah, so the easiest thing is just to go to the website. So that's just www.kirstywick.co.uk. And on the website, there's a contact form, so you can just send me an email via the website. If you're on social media, then Facebook is just at Kirsty Wick Hypnotherapy, and on Instagram at Kirsty Wick. So you can send me a message on Instagram or send me a message on Facebook as well. And what we will do is just set up an initial consultation, so we can just book to have a little chat. And sometimes actually, you know, sometimes that is enough for people to just kind of talk something through. But yeah, that's basically the starting point. That's the best way.
Brilliant, that's great. And again, you can always info me at info@notjustbacks.com, and I can forward on your message. And if also, guys, if you have any questions that you would like us to address, I'm sure Kirsty would come back at another time and answer some of those questions. So do email me and let us know your questions. But thank you so much, Kirsty, for joining me today. And hopefully you guys at home have found this interesting. And for our next vlog, it's probably trying to unwind some of the tension that might be building up. But of course, if you start practicing Kirsty's relaxation, you probably won't need any little exercises to help try and stretch out those tense bits. But thank you very much, Kirsty.
Okay, you're welcome. Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye.